good morning, my squad. Happy Sunday to you. I know it's been several weeks since I've stopped by and given you any updates, but today is Valentine's Day. Um, Quite interesting that I didn't even realize that this was Valentine's Day weekend until Friday. Um, Unfortunately, I guess that's what happens when you're single. You don't have to plan for this day, buy gifts for this day, and things like that. So I made it through probably early Friday morning, and I realized this was Valentine's Day weekend. So to all of my squad that are single, happy Valentine's Day to you. So that if you don't hear from anyone today, I will be the first to say happy Valentine's Day to you. As far as updates go, I haven't had much going on. I've kind of been doing some things around the house and some catch up on some of my Netflix and Hulu shows that I put off and we're waiting on my watch list. There's a couple I want to speak about today and point out, and maybe you want to take a look at them. But the first two that I want to talk about today are in regards to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I never really knew much about this man. I had seen a bunch of Facebook posts back when he committed suicide, and a lot of conspiracy theorists were saying that it probably wasn't suicide, that someone had him killed. But I didn't really know the background of Jeffrey Epstein until I had started to see some of those posts on Facebook. So I decided I was going to watch a couple of documentaries on him. There was one on Hulu and one on Netflix. And I was just curious as to the background and what really was the situation for this man. And I call him a man very loosely now that I've watched these documentaries. And I find that it is very sad that the authorities knew what he was capable of all the way back in 1996. And they failed to really do anything about him until 2005. And in 2005, to me, that was even a worse insult on the women that he abused, that he got 18 months off of a plea deal. No charges were really going to be filed against him. He had immunity and all these things. 18 months for abusing underage girls. I think that ended up only being 13 months. And then come to find that during his incarceration, he was released on work release. So he was basically out of jail for 12 hours a day. I'm not quite sure what that situation was about, but I guess it pays to have money. And people high up the ladder that could help him get away with so much. And then it took another few years for them to actually do anything, and then he kills himself. Interesting show. I recommend watching it if you don't know anything about him or the situation. I'm saddened for all of the young women that were more than likely abused during that time frame from 96 to 2019. And then they never really got justice because he killed himself. Sad situation. I've watched a few other documentaries since then. I did watch one recently in regards to Massachusetts, a drug scandal for two drug chemists who were charged with deciding whether or not the drugs that people had been arrested with were really drugs or not. So they actually had to do chemical tests and things like that, and then go to court and say whether or not these drugs were really drugs or some other type of substance. One of the chemists was taking the drugs, and one of the chemists wasn't really analyzing them. She was just filling out forms and basically saying, yes, it tested positive as a drug, cocaine, marijuana, meth, whatever the case may be. That's an interesting watch as well. And last but not least, the most recent Netflix series that I've watched is Bridgerton. Now, if you haven't seen that show yet, I highly recommend it. It is set in the 1800s, and it is based off of a series of books as well. I love that era, the 1800s. And so I was really looking forward to watching that. I actually loved it so much. I've actually watched through the first season twice now. There are 8 episodes. I did recently hear that they are going to do a second season, so I'm excited about that. The one thing I hate about Netflix is it always takes so long to get the next series uploaded and completed. But I loved it enough that I could probably watch it a couple more times by the time they do the next season. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. Just sharing with you a couple of shows that I've watched recently. Maybe you should check them out. If you have seen any of the shows that I've just mentioned, go ahead and leave a comment. For those of you that have watched Bridgerton, I am interested in knowing who your favorite characters were. So if you want to go ahead and post that in the comments, that would be great as well. We can see whether or not we have the same characters in mind. I won't mention any of the characters, so if you haven't seen it yet, I want to give you the opportunity to do that, and maybe I'll do a discussion on that later. I hope that you all enjoy your day. For those of you who have partners, significant others, I hope that you are enjoying this Valentine's Day as well. A fantastic day. Be somebody who makes somebody look forward to tomorrow. Peace out. God bless.